Hello, hello, guys. Very excited to show you the new book that I have completed. I've got my "If I paid taxes, I'd be in prison" shirt hat on, so that's always good too. That's the new tagline for me. I'm very proud to say. Uh, so this is the release video for my new book, which some of you saw that I was kind of writing live. I had it available in text form on W&W, but took that down. And I'm going to explain to you why. We're going to go over what the book is, that kind of thing, right? So I wanted to show you, first off, we have the paperback here. You can see. Someone pointed out to me that the spine text is upside down, so I'm just having that fixed. I totally didn't see that originally. So those of you who bought the early version of the book, you will have a special edition misprint because there's only going to be a few hundred of those probably. The book is already number one in every category that I put it in. Civil rights, constitutional law. There was one self-help legal. I thought that was really interesting. So I'm number one in that category as well. And then I think it's like 4,222 in the world, maybe even higher now. And so I wanted to say thank you very much for that. Highly appreciated. This is the hardback. This is fucking beautiful if you're going to pick one or the other one. The hardback's $10 more right now unless I change the price. Man, it's the best. I don't know why anyone would get the softback. This thing is just unbelievable. It feels, really, it feels great. And I wanted to talk about the book with you guys. Okay. So people have asked me, and some people are a little bit confused, what is the cover, right? So that's the first and most important thing I want to go over with you guys. So let's do a little screen share action. And I typed in here, the goddess Columbia, the original personification of America. And if we go to images, you can see the fact that this is basically the original personification of what America was back in the day. And if we go to Wikipedia, we have Columbia personification, right? So Columbia, known as Lady Columbia or Miss Columbia, is a female national personification of the United States. It was also a historical name applied to the Americas and the New World. The association has given rise to the names of many American places, objects, institutions, and companies, including the District of Columbia, Columbia, South Carolina, Columbia University, Hail Columbia, which is a anthem or song. I don't know what this is. A ship, the Columbia River, and also Columbia Pictures. For those of you who are unaware, Columbia Pictures. This image here that you see at the beginning of movies and stuff like that, that's also Columbia. And so she was a female, let's see here. Yeah, Lady Liberty, the Statue of Liberty, largely displaced Columbia as the female spirit of the United States around 1920. But I think we received the Statue of Liberty in, I think, 1886. Yeah, she is the central element of the logo of Hollywood Film Studio Columbia Pictures, right? So she was used all the way back before we were actually legally in our own separate country. It goes all the way back to 1730s to refer to the 13 colonies that would eventually form the United States. So it's even pre-United States. And then we received the Statue of Liberty in 1886, so it was after the Civil War. So all the way up to the Civil War, and then also after the Civil War into the early 1900s, Columbia was the personification right? And you guys can look through more information on this if you want. But if you look at lots of photos of what she is depicted as, you will see that the idea of what was beautiful is very different than the idea of what's beautiful today, right? So we can look up some of these pictures like this one here. We've got the red hair, some lipstick. I don't really think this would be the personification of what would be considered beautiful today, frankly. Here's another good example. Let's see here. Something like this. Now you can see, obviously, from all the photos, especially Columbia Pictures. I think Columbia Pictures does the best job of showing us. She has kind of red hair, maybe medium length, but it's very wavy, not quite curly, sometimes curly, and it's kind of tucked back, right? And so with this book, originally I was going to have her look like this, and then I was kind of like, well, I'm modernizing the book. I might as well modernize her as well. So I went ahead and modernized her to some degree, right? Now, if we go to my thing, let me just pause this for 1 second. We're going to pull something up here. So here we go, so this is 99 Designs. This is the like a contest style creation platform that I use to make the cover art. And I just wanted to read the brief to you so you guys can kind of understand what I was trying to achieve with the cover, because I think the artist did a really good job. We had lots of submissions because I did like a more expensive, I did the gold level submission, which I used 99 Designs for the One Stupid Fuck branding, and I also used it for the Williams & Williams law firm branding. So it's a pretty cool option for anyone who's looking to make some logos or covers or whatever, right? So in the brief, I said the first personification of America was not actually Lady Liberty, but was a goddess named Columbia. You see this name used in things such as Columbia Pictures and also the location of our federal government, the District of Columbia. After the introduction of the Statue of Liberty, this became the new personification of America, but this was given to us by the French and was a French personification. Columbia was a personification of America given by Americans, which originally probably, it depends on how you look at it. I don't know, because originally we were still England back in the 1730s. It was in English colonies, and it wasn't really, I don't know when exactly we started to sort of want to branch off exactly, but anyways, it was a personification of the people who were here from England that eventually became America, or America, however you want to think about it, right? And then I said, but America is in danger and her legacy has been forlorn, which means kind of like forgotten, right? America is tremendously resilient and strong. For this reason, Columbia, as depicted on this cover, must appear strong, with a powerful and sensual gaze, but she must be beaten and bruised and abused, but still retain her incredible beauty. So by looking up photos of Columbia online, as by looking up Columbia Pictures online and looking at how she is depicted there, this is a perfect model for the woman that will be depicted on the cover of my book. Medium length, curly, wavy, reddish brown hair, white skin, thin, etc. I will add a photo that I found that will show her features best. I think the illustration would be best done in black and white with very heavy shading to depict her struggling and failing demeanor, with one side of her face heavily shadowed to give the idea that the lights are dimming and will soon be gone. Light coming from one side of her head would be perfect, leaving a shadow after the nose and leaving one side of her face looking quite dark and giving the impression that the light is continuing to move off and will ultimately result in complete darkness. There must be an American flag draped around her shoulders and down her chest, but the illustration on the cover can be simply from her bust up and would be best that way in order to bring attention to her facial expression, which would be one of pain, but one of beauty and glory. Pencil style might be a great choice for this due to the basic nature, but I will let each artist decide the best way to do it. So we did have submissions that were in black and white. We had submissions that are in color. I originally thought I was going to go with the black and white submission, but I loved this color submission so much. The artist actually did both. So he submitted both. He submitted a black and white and a color, and I was so impressed by the color one that I ended up shifting over to, because it says here color would be an option, but in my mind the black and white depiction would do a better job of communicating the overall message, which I thought was true until I saw this, and I kind of fell in love with this cover right away. I have attached 2 photos for reference, one which shows the kind of shadowing and shading I think would be good, but it's too dark on the one side of her face, and the shading for my cover should not be so dark. But her face should be illuminated on one side, but not by much. And that's referring to this photo here. You can see that her one side is completely black, and I didn't want it to be quite that dark. And I think the artist did a really good job of figuring that out, frankly. And the other one with Shutterstock across it is another example of how the body position, eye position, and look, disheveled hair, mouth expression. Now, when you look at a lot of photos of Columbia online, especially with Columbia Pictures and stuff like that, she has very, very striking red hair, right? And so if you look at the cover here, and you'll see it online, it's got a little bit of red in it, but it's mostly kind of dulled out. Now, I really like that. Because I wanted all of her facial features and kind of everything going on here. I didn't want anything to kind of take like center stage. I wanted it to be all kind of like equally attentive. I didn't want her hair to be so flaming hot and plus the dull kind of color and just it kind of adds to the whole flavor of what I was trying to achieve. With her just kind of being kind of down and out and beaten to, almost to death, but still having hope and still having strength. And it was kind of a weird balance that I was trying to achieve. So I like this because if you look at it, it's definitely kind of a reddish hue to her hair, but I didn't want it to be the kind of fire red that you normally see in a lot of her photos. So I like that. And it wasn't even something that I thought I was going to like, but when I saw it, I knew it was the right thing to do for what I was trying to achieve on this cover, right? And let's see here. There we go. I'd like to experiment in this contest with, this picture gives a good idea of what I speak of when I say strong and focused, yet beaten while still beautiful. That's kind of what I was going for, right? I would like to experiment in this contest with various degrees of lighting, shading, bruising, facial expressions. These will be the various areas that will be critiqued in this. Columbia is also depicted with all sorts of various hats, helmets, crowns, wreaths. I wanted to see what various kinds of headwear she may have, but I don't want the headwear to be so ornate that it pulls away from the base. I didn't end up going with anything with headwear. I just thought that was something that was considered sexy or productive or whatever it was. People liked that, 200 plus years ago or whatever it was. But I just don't think now. I don't know. Her hair is such a distinctive part of who she is that I thought the headwear would detract from that. So I went ahead and just didn't do that, right? Looking for more of a human creation, right? And anyways, so that's basically, and then she should not look too pained, and she should be composed yet battered. And I was thinking sort of like a lot of the stuff that you see when you look up The Last of Us video game. And you have these sort of photos that they use for a lot of the marketing, which is sort of this like beaten yet focused, like hurt and pained but dedicated. You know what I mean? Like that kind of look or energy or communication is kind of what I thought of when I thought of how I wanted my cover to look. this is a bit too pained here, but this is sort of gives the idea a little bit with Ellie from The Last of Us 2, which is one of my favorite video games, by the way. Such a good game. And yeah, something like this, you know. This is good. It's a little bit too angry and pained, this one here. But this is kind of what I was kind of trying to go for, you know. But I wanted it to be like very, very intense, very striking, and very, very focused forward towards the reader, sort of like what you see in the Shutterstock photo, something like this. I thought this was actually better than this. This is kind of like a softer look, kind of more of like a waiting for something look. This is more of like a commanding type look that I kind of wanted something more like this in terms of the facial expressions and stuff like that. So I thought the artist did a great job with the book. I was very, very pleased. They sent a different person on the front, but it was the same kind of style. I said, no, it needs to be Columbia, or you need to make it look as close to the goddess Columbia as possible. This was the second submission by that artist, and I was in love immediately. So that is how the cover was born. And this is supposed to be, and I know everyone's going to have a different opinion about it because beauty is a subjective art. But to me, I felt like it captured everything I wanted. It was a modernization of the goddess Columbia. It showed the pain, the dullness, the lights are going out, she's in trouble. But it also showed the beauty and the focus and the power that she really is and what she really has. And I thought I just couldn't figure out a way to make it any better than this. I mean, this is just, it just hit my checklist of everything I was looking for so good that I was just blown away. And that ended up being the cover for the book. So that's the information as to the cover. And then also, like I said, that spine is going to get adjusted. So if you already purchased a copy, you have kind of like a special edition because there's only going to be a few hundred of those made, and then that'll be it on that version with the misprinted spine. So TM 2025, when I first read it, I was so blown away by it, and I just had never seen anything like it before. It's an Army training manual from 1928 that was used from 1928 to 1932, and it caused a big ruckus. A lot of people were upset about it. The manual is very critical for democracy, and it explains that America is not a democracy, which is basically kind of an insane mob rule, but it's actually a republic. And it talks about the differences between an autocracy, a monarchy, a republic, a democracy. It gives the entire historical background of what was the mindset of an American, the mindset of a pilgrim, who came here, what happened, various, like what makes a great American. And then there's many biographies of a bunch of really, really amazing Americans. What did they do? How are they so amazing? What made them so amazing? What's the spirit of an American? What's the soul of an American? Are leaving, the Britain and why, and it's just amazing. It just fills in so many gaps. And then what I did was, I'd say about 35 to 40% of the book has been either altered or changed or heavily rewritten, because a lot of the 14th Amendment type stuff, and the original author, which is a chaplain. And I couldn't find literally any information on him. So some people may be like, oh, you're not even crediting this guy. I couldn't even find any info on the guy. I even used AI, and AI couldn't find anything on the guy. So, Harry, there's a guy who wrote the Constitution. It's like an edited Constitution at the very end of the original manual. His name is like Harry Atwood or something like that. I didn't know, he obviously had some part in TM 2025, but I don't know how much input he had. So it's hard for me to figure out who to thank or whatever. So just keep in mind, and I'm not trying to be an asshole. For example, when you look at the beginning of the book here, you'll see it's in loving memory. And to me, it's in loving memory of John Marshall, which is I think he's the first or second Chief Justice, or third, I forget. But man, a lot of the case law we still operate off of today. Beautiful, beautiful man. I mean, he set the whole country up. He basically set up all the laws and interpreted everything through the Constitution in a beautiful way to sort of launch us into a long, prosperous country. I don't know how else to really say it. And then, obviously, for people who know what I do and who I am, Roger B. Taney and Samuel Freeman Miller, and men who taught me what being an American truly meant. So some people may be like, well, what's the deal? Like, the guys who wrote TM 2025, where are they listed? I just don't, I couldn't collect enough information to say anything meaningful on the subject, but I wanted to say it here in this video. There's a chaplain guy, obviously the Army, whoever else was involved in the Army at that time who wrote this manual, and then Harry Atwood. I just don't know how much. The other issue I have with it is I think Harry Atwood, because when you read the original TM 2025, it's like, oh, all-inclusive and everyone's inclusive and there's only one type of citizenship and we're all together, and that's complete horseshit. And he talks very highly of Abraham Lincoln. That's all horseshit, right? I don't think Abraham Lincoln was a bad guy, but there's two sides of the coin. Roger B. Taney hated Abraham Lincoln, and they fought like hell until Taney finally died in 1864, and Taney stopped Lincoln from doing a lot of the stupid shit that he ended up doing after Taney died. So I think it's important to balance out how much of the original TM 2025 was talking about Abraham Lincoln and balance it out with Roger B. Taney so that you can kind of see both sides, because what happened is so awful and fucked that it's not a good thing. And I don't think Abraham Lincoln's a bad guy. He's definitely not one of my favorite people in our past. But he's a good dude. He's definitely a great example of an American in general. I'm not going to say he's not, because he is one of the people who are listed in the biography section. He's a great guy. He really is an excellent example of a star American. I think my own personal opinion is that he kind of dismantled a lot of stuff that should have been done in a very different way. And I understand he was under tremendous pressure and stuff, but I don't know. I have mixed opinions on it. And the thing is that Abraham Lincoln's opinions and ideas did not become infused into the legal system. Roger B. Taney and Samuel Freeman Miller are the ones who created all of the law that we still operate off of today. So in terms of relativity, what matters today in 2025, it's the words of Taney and Miller are way more relevant for today's world than the Abraham Lincoln. So you'll see that in the book when you read it, but I wanted to so that's another reason why I didn't want to go and say, obviously the manual is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life, but because it's a bit hard to figure out who's who and what they did, and then also their viewpoints on some of the certain things, I couldn't be like, oh my God, thank you so much, blah, 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 blah. I'll say it here. Thank you very much for whoever, the chaplain or Mr. Atwood or whatever his name is. It's great, but there's much more of a discussion that has to be made, and a lot of those things I wanted to get them balanced, because another great example is Taney versus Miller, two totally different sides of the coin to some degree, even though Taney actually didn't like slavery and he thought it needed to be abolished, but when it came down to actually doing something in the legal system, he stayed with what the Constitution says, and he left his own opinions out. So Taney was just operating as a professional. He wasn't operating with any sort of malice. In fact, his personal opinion was the total opposite of what he said in Dred Scott versus Sandford, which is also covered in the book. Whereas Mr. Miller was on the total opposite end of the spectrum, right? So anyways, I just think it's important to say all this because you're going to see a lot of that in the book. I wanted to kind of take this whole we're all one and all this kind of horse shit, and the 14th Amendment, it's all horse shit. I wanted to bring that down and then balance it with kind of everything that was going on during that time period so you can kind of see all of it live. And then obviously I talk a lot about state versus U.S. citizenship, which isn't in the original manual at all. Not even once. It's not mentioned anywhere. There is a couple sections that sort of allude to it a little bit where you have talking about how there's one section that's very fascinating that says that the citizens of America are stockholders in the corporation called United States. You'll see that later in the book. That's actually right out of the original manual. I didn't edit that or add that in or anything. So you guys, on WNW, I'll show you what I'm talking about here on WNW, but if we go to WilliamsandWilliamsLawFirm.com, and we go down to the TM 2025 Modernized, you'll see I removed all the text, and I just have a copy of the picture of the book here. I have a link to Amazon, and then for $250 donation, I'll hand sign a hardback for you and send it to you. Non-refundable. It could take 6 weeks to ship. So I wanted to show you guys that. You can donate that here. $200, and then I'll put this video that I'm making right now that you're watching will also be put on this page so that you guys have all the information as to everything kind of going on with this, right? And yeah, let's see here. So the font. So when I submitted my writ of certiorari to the Supreme Court for the SBA case, they talk about in the Supreme Court rules that they only accept 3 types of fonts. And the reason why is because it's the 3 types of fonts that are the easiest to read when you're reading thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pages per week. So if you look, it looks like a big book, right? It's 344 pages. But when you open it, you'll see I used Century School Book is the text font. And you'll see a lot of like indents. So whenever there's a quote, I used indents to make sure that it's very, 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 very clear that there's a quote here. I wanted to do that on purpose because the original TM 2025 was a bit hard to follow sometimes, where the quotes are and where they're not. So you'll see a lot of indents. You'll see the spacing is pretty heavy. So it looks kind of thick. But when you start getting into it, what's going to happen is you're going to move very rapidly through it, and it's going to kind of feel cool. It's going to be like you're going to feel like you're accomplishing something very rapidly because you'll be going through each page very rapidly. So while the book looks pretty big, it's 344 pages. In all honesty, it's probably more along the lines of maybe 180 to 200 pages, if I had to say. Total, right? The code of a Picklitarian is in the back. I added that as the only item after the final section of the rewrite of TM 2025. So you'll see part 14, the flag, and then right after that is the code of a Picklitarian, which is the end of the book. That's the only additional item that I added to the book for now. The original TM 2025, like I said, it had it had like a constitution, but it was edited to add in like all the things that had changed, I think by that guy, Harry Atwood, whatever his name is. I may do that at some point. I may rewrite the constitution just like Mr. Atwood did and kind of like make edits and stuff like that, but it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. So this is going to be and I'm just tired of looking at this thing, frankly. I've read it and reread it so many times, I don't even know, I'm just kind of tired of looking at it. So, which I know is kind of funny, but every single word, the punctuation, every single period, every single comma, every single bold, every single italics at the end, I was just changing like individual words, italicize this and don't italic. So I'm a bit cooked on this one. So I'm going to need a break from looking at this thing for a while. But at some point I may come back and add something to it or a constitution, or we'll see kind of where that goes, right? I'd say, like I said, around 35 to 40% of the book has been changed or adjusted, something like that. I wanted to create, so the book, there's multiple reasons why I'm doing this, because a lot of the stuff has been kind of free up to this point, right? Some of the reasoning behind it is basically I wanted something that isn't filled with crazy text and crazy fonts and cursing and all this kind of stuff. I wanted something more mellow, more low key, that anyone can go and read and kind of get through it and that kind of thing. To kind of, you guys have been asking me that for years, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to do that. TM 2025 is like a beginning and an end, and it has sections. So it was easy for me to like not feel like I was going to release something that later I was going to have to make adjustments on. That's another reason why I wanted to do a book. And then I wanted it to be like super high value, not just some free thing on some weird website, but I want it to be like beautiful and amazing and have meaning. And I wanted to make this kind of like the symbol of not just our platform, but like the entire sovereignty movement. Like truly, I truly believe in my mind, in my heart, that this book is going to be the centerpiece for the entire sovereignty movement. I mean, someone could be studying this subject for 60 years or more previously. This book will get you farther than somebody who's been studying this stuff for 60 years previously. I mean, that sounds insane, but I'm not kidding. I'm dead serious. This thing is, 100 years worth of sovereignty research in 200 pages, but it's 344, but 200 pages. And I've always been trying to figure out since the beginning, how do we get people into the right frame of mind? How do we get the information to them in the fastest, easiest, and best way possible, right? So we have great font, great spacing. Everything's very clear. The indents, the quotes are very clear. Everything's very, very clear. So it's very, very nice, very pleasurable to read. And I try so hard to tie everything that's historical into how you can use it or how does it affect your life. So I think it's going to be a really amazing piece. I really just couldn't see it any other way, and I really do believe it's going to be the centerpiece of the entire sovereignty movement, right? So I've always said to anyone who messages me, they're like, hey, how can I help? How can I help? I always say, hey, share the information, share the information. This is just kind of a new and different way of sharing the information. It's packaged. Someone can buy it. You can give these away. You can go down. You can buy a bunch of copies and give them to your friends, give them to your family. I don't recommend you give them to people if they don't really want to read it. That's kind of stupid. It's like, that's just dumb. Like if they really, really want to read it, then they should honestly just buy it, frankly. But gifts to libraries, you guys can give copies to libraries, whatever it is. Whatever makes it, turn this light up just a little bit. Whatever makes it, easier, or not easier, but whatever you guys want to do with it. But this is sort of just like another way. I always say, oh, share the information, share the information. This is another way to say share the information. And I did make edits to onestupidfuck.com. I'll show you those here. So on the step-by-step guide page, I'll be going around and making some other adjustments. Like, for example, on the explanatory statement, it's now a requirement that every single Pickletarian has to read this book in full. It's a requirement. So that got added to the explanatory statement. You'll see me kind of roaming around, making some other little adjustments here and there. You'll see all the websites now have links at the top, this like special announcement bar to go to the book, right? But if you go to the step-by-step guide page, I did quite a bit of heavy edits to this yesterday, right? So now it's an actual numbered list, which before it wasn't, right? So purchase and read the book, sign up for the course, read the treatise on the word person, read Driving versus Traveling, read State Citizen Theory, and then start reading through my cases, starting with the most recent cases and then working your way backwards, right? And then useful files and templates, private consults, other stuff. So I kind of went into a lot more detail as to what people can do, kind of give them more actionable and clear steps and ideas. So I think this is a big improvement. what I had before is just it was kind of wishy-washy, and it was kind of fuck you, you know. It still has some of that, obviously. That's just like what I love. But I think this just is a better job of kind of showing people. So if you want anyone who's new to the platform, or anyone who's new to sovereignty information, or anyone who's freaking out about inflation or taxes or tickets or lawsuits or whatever, I think this is a great first page to send them to, as long as they can handle the whole one stupid fuck branding and obviously the welcome bitch, right? As long as they can handle that, I think this is a really, really good way to give them tons of stuff. They can order the book, they can sign up for the course, they can start reading this stuff right away, and they can start getting through it. They can, on the State Citizen Theory page, I even say right here, you can download a bunch of versions of Black's Law on that page, so they can start getting all the copies of the first 6 editions of Black's Law on their computer and on their phone, right? So just stuff like that, I think, is really, really good. So I'll be making some other adjustments too over the next few days and kind of forward. The explanatory statement was already adjusted. The covenant of an ambassador was already adjusted. I just added that every single Pickletarian must read this book in full. There is absolutely no question about that at all whatsoever. So that's that. I know a lot of you guys are here for financial reasons. I know there's a lot of financial concerns. That's probably for sure the number one thing for people coming onto my platform. There is a tiny bit of that in here, but it's not anywhere near what you're going to see in like my free course or in my lawsuits. If you want to learn most about that in a written form, the lawsuits are probably where you want to go, right? So I just want to talk about that for a minute. To develop the fortitude and self-esteem that you're going to need to get through the kind of litigation you're going to need to get through to make the financial stuff work, you have to understand who you are, what your rights are, and what an American is. Otherwise, you're not going to have the steam and energy that you're going to need to make it through the amount and intensity and craziness with the litigation that you're probably going to need to go through to start seeing success. We're starting to see some successes in the area of financials using litigation, right, which is new. I'm starting to see some success. I told my utility company to turn off my power. I said, turn it off. I said, then I'll have the damages that I need to come after you guys. I got the lawsuit all written up. I got the whole rough draft. It's already written. All I got to do is just plug in dates and a few other things, and I can file it. But when I sued the city, Glendale Water and Power, I sued them first in federal court. I lost because of jurisdictional stuff, which I didn't really understand at the time, which I actually fucked up on. That's fine. And then I sued him in small claims court, and the judge was really impressed by what I was presenting. He was like blown away. But he ended up dismissing the case because he didn't see any damages. He was like, they haven't really damaged you, so how can I, And I was like, I get that, I suppose. And we all got mixed, a lot of people have mixed opinions and stuff. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. It's simple. Making it to where if you don't have clear damages, you can't sue someone actually protects everyone, because it makes it to where there's no pre-crime. Pre-crime is the destruction of the whole world. If it's pre-crime, then we're all screwed and the Constitution's screwed and everything. You have to have damages in order to sustain a cause of action. The damages have to be very, very clear, very, very distinct, very, very provable. And I think that actually protects all of us. And it took me, I had to mold through all this and kind of think about it and stuff. And I'm kind of at that point. So I told the city, I said, turn off my power, man. I need you to do it. You have to do it. Because then I got the damages that I need to move forward with my case. And they said, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. I'm like, do it. I need you to do it. And now they won't do it. So I consider it to be a success. But the thing is, we have to keep going and kind of see if they're going to do it, if they're not going to do it. At this point, it's been weeks since they said they were going to do it. They were going to do it on, I think, the early October. And they sent me another bill. And then on that new bill, they put the old amount saying still owing. I crossed all that out, and I wrote a cover letter. And I said, in accordance with the California Commercial Code version of UCC 3-114, which is about contradictory terms, handwritten terms prevail over printed, and written terms and words prevail over numbers, I believe is exactly. So I put that in there, and I said, I just crossed it out and just adjusted all of it with a pen and wrote a new amount due And I said, this is all set now, and I'm hereby tendering this back to you to satisfy the obligation under the California Commercial Code version of UCC 3-311, which is accord and satisfaction by use of instrument. And that was it. I haven't heard anything. Power's on. Everything's good. So kind of all a work in progress. I'll definitely show all this to you in the future, maybe on shows, maybe in the 3.0 course, because I'm still kind of learning. So all this. And then obviously in the 3.0 course, we're going to be going over the rules of evidence. Every single fucking rule, man. Every single one we're going to go into. Every single rule of civil procedure. Every single rule of professional conduct, which is what the bar cards have to follow and we don't. All this stuff, local rules, we're going to be getting into all that extensively. Procedure is going to be probably the spotlight for the 3.0 course, okay? This book will not be broken down heavily in the 3.0 course because a lot of it is historical. It would be a whole course in itself. The key parts, you'll see right at the beginning of the book, there's a full breakdown of citizenship section, which really gets into all of it real heavily. A lot of that's probably going to be in the 3.0 course, but the whole rest of it won't be. So if you think this book is going to be, I'll just wait for the 3.0 course, I'm going to start the 3.0 course and say, read this book. It's supplementary to the 3.0 course, and you're going to be doing the 3.0 course and this book at the same time, guaranteed. It'll slow down the flow of the course too much to put all this information in the course. Even more than 5 or 10% of it, it would slow down the course. Not to say that the book is slow. It's definitely a little slower than anything else I've got, but it's important. It's very, very important. I'm telling you, this is the bedrock of everything. I promise you. I truly promise you. It really is. It's changed everything. My mindset has changed so much, and now all of a sudden I'm starting to see successes in litigation. It's the mindset that creates success. This is what creates the mindset. And that's what I really wanted to communicate in this video, because people who are like, I don't need to learn anything about citizenship. I've already got it. Or I don't need. Trust me, this is the underbelly of what's going to get you to where you need to go with the litigation stuff and the financials. But does it have a lot of financial information in it specifically? No, it's very little. There's a little bit, but very little. That's not really the focus of the book, okay? I didn't want it to be just available online. I want it to be like something like expensive, luxury, beautiful, amazing, personification of fucking Colombia, something that you open up at a coffee shop and people go, what the fuck is that? I wanted it to be something really, really epic. So I took it down from the W&W website. Some people are going to be upset about that. I just, for positioning and for marketing purposes and everything else. Plus, let's be honest, you guys have always wanted to figure out, how do I donate to you? How do I give something to you? This is kind of the first real avenue that I have something that if you want to actually give me something of value, it helps me. And then now I have the signed copies for $250 too. So obviously this is going to help me. If we sell 1 billion of these things, I'm going to start putting together some paid ad marketing campaigns, and we're going to start kind of going to a whole new level with this stuff. Okay. So, this is definitely probably more difficult of a read than anything else I have available. So please do take your time. Please do look up information, look up historical information, look up biographical information. Take your time. This is, seriously, I'm not kidding when I say this, it is the most important thing on my whole platform by far. And I understand the whole financial thing. I'm going to turn this light up just a little bit again. I understand the whole financial thing. I understand that you guys are concerned about financials and all this kind of stuff. Well, let me tell you, as soon as you solve the financial stuff, you're not going to give a fuck about the financial stuff anymore. You're going to, all of a sudden, you're going to be worried about your country, and then you're going to be worried about your country from that point forward. I promise you. I've seen it a million times. It's what happened to me. As soon as the money stuff, oh man, I got this all figured out, and I got $400,000 of debt to just poof vanish, and then I got IRS bills and poof they just vanish. It's all this stuff started happening. I was like, well, fuck. I was like, the whole financial thing, once it's gone, it's gone. But the country and the issues with the country and the future of what's happening, you could have $1 million in the bank and like fucking Venezuela, it could all be gone overnight. So this is bigger than that. So I hope those of you who are, in financial despair land, you can kind of look past that a little bit and see that there's this whole other thing here, and it's way bigger than your personal financial situation, let me tell you. And I understand it's real. I understand that a lot of you guys are on my stuff because of that, but this will help you with that. I'm serious. So don't think that it's irrelevant. It's not irrelevant at all. It's actually terribly relevant, okay? Take your time. Don't scan this. Read it like your life depends on it, okay? I want to get this book into the hands of like every American on the fucking country. I just can't stress that enough, right? Everybody needs to get a copy of this, okay? This is not a listen to the audiobook while doing other shit kind of book. I don't recommend that. This is a thick girl, okay? It's just thick girl. So I guess you can do that if you have like no other time, but like maybe do that and then read the book afterward and then listen to the audiobook again and then read the book. You'll probably need to go through this a couple different times, a couple different ways or whatever. Okay. People ask me all the time, does this apply to other countries? I don't know. I don't care. You tell me. You guys think I know everything about every country. I don't. And I don't give a shit, frankly, at all. So I imagine countries that were previously colonized by Britain, Australia, India. People don't realize India was colonized by Britain. Canada, New Zealand. Probably stuff like that is probably very, very similar. One thing I will say on a side note is the negotiable instrument system is pretty much the same in like almost every country in the whole world. So the negotiable instrument stuff, which isn't necessarily covered too much in this book, is the same in pretty much every single country, or very, very similar. So will this apply in your country? I don't know. If you're Canadian, Australian, New Zealander, or you're in India, there's a possibility. I don't know. So that's up to you. I don't really care. I'll probably move on to other countries once I master this one. I don't see that happening tomorrow. Okay, so there's not a whole lot of my opinion in this. So, some people might get really upset by some of the stuff that's in this because obviously it's very shocking, especially a lot of the racial stuff. It's not my opinion. So if I see people attacking me because it's my opinion or whatever, I'm just going to block them. It's not my opinion. So that's just stupid. Okay, this is legal fact. Whether the courts like it, whether the Supreme Court likes it, I have a bunch of this shit right now in my writ of certiorari. They haven't even cashed the check I sent them, so it's just crazy. They signed for the writ of certiorari on October 14th, and I went to the bank yesterday or the day before that, and I said, hey, because I can't get a hold of the clerk. I call the clerk, and I request a call back, and I can't get a call back, and I talked to him twice before I sent it in, and he called me back on the same day. So we spoke 2 times prior to me sending it. The federal shutdown and everything, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to wait a while. I mean, I may wait another 2 weeks. And then if it's by mid-November, if I haven't heard anything and they haven't deposited the check, I'm just going to start fucking calling them like every single day, like nonstop, like a crazy fanatical person. Okay, but I want to give them lots of time. I know they're under tremendous stress and stuff like that. So that's on the back burner for now, right? And if you want to see the writ of certiorari, you can look it up on the previous and current litigation page on williamsandwilliamslawfirm.com, and the PDF is there with all the original documentation. Okay. We've already gone over if you want a signed hardback, you're going to go to the TM 2025 modernized page on W&W, and you'll see the donation link for that. One thing, this is interesting, I wanted to say, I'll probably be making a list of like politicians and stuff like that at some point, or trying to figure out maybe how I want to do that. And I'll probably start sending out, I mean, if you guys buy a shitload of these things and you guys buy signed copies and it just becomes like fucking gangbusters, which it already kind of has. We've already sold, I don't know, 300 or something. It's like insane. It's like crazy. It took me like, I wrote 2 books previously, one on marketing and sales and one on love and romance. It took me like years to recoup how much it cost me to make the book. I've already way surpassed how much it cost me to make this book within 48 hours. So thank you guys so much for that. It feels good to not have to wait 2 or 3 years just to break even on a book. You know, the book I've read it before. Authors kind of joke and stuff. It's like we're in the business of losing money, and it's just kind of funny. It's just kind of a funny thing. Anyways, side note. But I was thinking like a cover letter with the Williams and Williams logo, and then maybe like review the politician a little bit and kind of look into their background, kind of what concerns them and stuff like that. Or I don't know, like attorney generals, I don't know, somebody, and just start sending out special copies that are signed with little notes, and then there's a cover letter, and then it has a little bit of like personal information, something really, really badass. Because like the whole point is like, you look at this thing and you're like, damn, this thing is fucking awesome, right? So it's like, the beauty is so striking, and it's such a striking, and to me, it means so much. Which is why I wanted to make this video, explain it to you guys. It really means a lot. Like people look at it and they go, this means something. And it's like, yeah, it does. Cause I spent fucking a month on what does it mean? Like I wanted it to mean something, right? It really means something big, right? So people see that, they see, oh man, this is something here. What is this? You know? So it's striking, and it's not the kind of thing that someone's going to open up and then just throw away probably. So sending it out to politicians or something like that is totally possible for the future. And so, yeah, that's everything, guys. That's everything. The book is available in ebook, the audiobook. I'm probably not, it's 8 hours of recorded voice, and everyone who got the one with the girl's voice on it, the automated girl's voice, they say it's pretty good. I haven't checked it yet. I don't see myself doing the, 16, 20 hours worth of work it's going to take to put together 8 hours worth of audiobook right anytime soon. I may. I know some of you guys have wanted that. I just don't see that happening anytime soon. So I wouldn't. I have some other lawsuits that I would like to get to that have been sitting here for quite some time. You got to think, the writ of certiorari and the TM 2025 remodernized book, I have been on these 2 projects all day, every day, like a fucking crazy person, nonstop since like June or July. So I need a fucking break. That's what I need, right? So I have the credit reprogramming lawsuit. If the fucking city turns off my power, which I pray they do, that'll get filed in like 10 fucking seconds. That's already ready to go. We'll see if they do that. But the credit reprogramming lawsuit, that's going to be a federal case. I don't even know if I can file that. The federal courts are all fucked up. I don't even know. Joey said it's okay. It'll be fine. But I don't know. I got to look into that. I don't know if I send it in, it's going to take them fucking 90 days to even, I don't know. I don't know if I should wait maybe until they reboot the government. I don't know yet. And I need a fucking break, frankly. The writ of certiorari was fucking insane, going to the printers and trying to serve the fucking Solicitor General of the United States, of the DOJ, and the fucking building's closed, and the fucking process server can't figure out who to give it to, and the security guard doesn't know where to take it, and it's just like, and then the printing, and then I had to get the printing right, and it had to be special paper on the inside of 60 pounds, and it had to be 80 pounds on the cover, and it had to have certain fonts, and oh my god, and then I had to do it all by a certain date, and I was just freaking out. And then so I got that done, and then I was at the very end, I was doing this project at the same time for this book. So I finished this around the same time. So I'm just a bit cooked right now, guys. I need a little bit of time off, and then we'll figure out what I'm going to be doing next. But it's probably not going to be the audiobook for this, frankly. I mean, if I was gonna take on a big ass project, frankly, like that, I would probably just start doing 3.0, frankly. So, will there be an audiobook in my voice at some point in time? Yeah, I'd say yeah, but it's not going to be anytime soon. So Just do this, do the book, do the audiobook that's available. Don't wait for that. It's probably, years or a year or two. I don't know. It's not a priority. If the audiobook sucked with the girl's voice, it'd be more of a priority, right? But it's pretty good. People are liking it. It's getting the job done. So I don't see any necessity when I could be spending time on, like, let's say 3.0 or something like that, right? So when I announce 3.0, it's going to take 2 to 4 months to get it done. It takes about a month to do all the outline and to write out all the outline, and it takes 2 or 3 months to shoot all the video and set everything up, and then set up all the emails and then launch it. So by the time you guys hear that I've started, 2 to 4 months, and it'll be done. So don't worry about that. Don't. A lot of 2.0 is still great. A lot of 2.0, a lot of the videos are still really great. So I don't think it's something you should avoid. The first 2 videos are the only ones that are really, really heavily affected by this book. This book cleans all that up and gives you all the new info. So that kind of fixes that. So the rest of the course is still pretty solid. I know a few things have changed. I know now with the DOT numbers, they have some kind of like a verification thing where they're requiring you to send some kind of ID or something. I don't know much about that. It wasn't how it was before. So, I don't even see how that's legal, because you can be a foreign business and not have any of that documentation. And I just don't. So I don't know. I don't know. They never did it before all these years. And then all of a sudden now everyone's interested in it. And 80 million people are doing it, and then now they added this authentication. You have to send in a driver's license or passport or whatever. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it looks like. I haven't done that, so I don't know much about that. We'll probably cross that bridge at 3.0. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys love the book. I do hope. We had a couple haters put some horse shit 1-star reviews on the Amazon page. There could be more of those. I don't know. So I hope you guys read the book, read the audiobook, and then give some kind of realistic, detailed, honest review to sort of help combat that, as well as to help others understand what they're going to be getting into if they do purchase the book. Because a lot of brand new people to my platform are going to be buying this. So a lot of you guys who have been around here for a long time, you're like, oh, I don't need, this thing sells itself. It does for anyone who's been here for more than 10 minutes. But for the brand new people, having lots of reviews and stuff like that might be help them to make a decision to buy something that they may have otherwise not done. I don't know. So if you guys could put reviews, honest reviews, I'd really appreciate that. And then I think that's everything. I don't think I have anything else to add. I'll put this video on the TM 2025 modernized page on WNW, and then it'll also be on my YouTube channel. And that's it. And we'll just keep going. I'm probably going to do another tour of shows soon-ish. I think that's the next thing I want to do. I want to start doing a ton of shows to bring a lot of this information from this book onto the shows. So I'll probably do that starting in maybe December or January. And then credit reprogramming case, got that popping. The Amex appeal is still sitting there. So we're waiting to hear back from the court on that. If that gets remanded back to district court, we're actually going to have my first time actually having a real case, which is super exciting. I think they'll just settle immediately. I don't think it'll go anywhere. But regardless, it's going to be a huge deal. And if not, I've already gone to the Supreme Court once with the writ of certiorari. The second time I do it is going to be way easier. I've already got the Word file. I've already got all the formatting worked out. I've already got a print shop over here. It's just like it's going to be 80% easier this second time. So if the Amex case gets dismissed at the appeals court and for no good reason, or I can't figure out why, or just some horse shit like we've been seeing a lot of, bang, we're going straight to the Supreme Court again. I'm going to keep doing all this until we get somewhere. With that said, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everything. I hope you guys I know you guys love the cover. I love the cover. I mean, I cried when I first saw it. Literally, I cried. It's perfect. And so I hope you guys like the content inside the book as much as you guys like the cover. And thank you very much. And I'm really glad that you're on this journey with me. And we are going to have some seriously powerful effects on this country and the world here in the next coming months. So thank you very much, guys. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.